Hey, you guys, we're back, and I've been talking about another collaboration, doing a sign for another YouTube influencer, YouTube slash Instagram influencer. So we're going to start that today, and I'm going to announce who it is right off the bat because the logo is right on there. And this may look familiar to you guys, but it may not. This is the podcast, and not necessarily a website, but it's his podcast, and this is for Izzy Swan. So probably most of you know who Izzy is. If you don't, just Google it. You'll find out in a hurry. He does some amazing videos. I've been an admirer for a long time, a watcher, viewer, and a fan for a long time. So it's really an honor for me to get to make something for him. I reached out to him, and he said, yeah, he'd like to have something. So so here's what I'm going to go with. This is what we're going to start with. I've got his logo on a piece of cedar. What?
All you see is the top.
All you see is the top of my hat. This is an 18-inch round. This is actually laminated cedar. It is, actually it might be redwood. I think it is actually redwood. I bought it from Perfect Plank. You guys know I've talked about Perfect Plank in the past, not for a while. But this is a piece that I had, and I really like the way this stuff looks. So I'm making him a round sign, but there's a lot more to it than this, and we will get to that. But first things first, we got to get this thing carved. I'm going to do the letters outset, just pretty much the way it is. Black background and black inset on the megaphone or whatever that thing is. And I'm going to start the outset letters with my profile bit as normal. I could use there's some pretty tight lines in here. I could have used the SC50, but I think I can make it work with the profile bit. So let's just jump right into it. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, and I'm not even sure how many videos it's going to take to get this all done. But we'll take it one step at a time and see what we can accomplish. Let's see. Oops. I've got the base on backwards again. Got to turn it around so you guys can see what's going on. And the cord is not in the way.
And the cord?
Cord.
My goodness.
All right. Here we go. I think I've got it set about 1/8 of an inch deep, but I think it might be a little too deep. Let's find out. Oh, before I forget, what I've got here is from our vinyl printer, and I know you guys most of you guys don't have a vinyl printer, but this could be paper just as easily as it could be vinyl. I just have access to a big vinyl printer, so I printed it out, stuck it down. I did not put packing tape or the blue painter's tape underneath this because I didn't need to use spray adhesive. This vinyl peels off really nice, so I didn't need that. If you were using paper and carving through the paper, I would suggest putting blue painter's tape down, then use spray adhesive on your paper, putting it on top of the blue paper, the blue tape, and then packing tape over the top. I'm all over the place here. I'm excited to get this done. So anyway, I'm going to try and slow down and not go so fast. But anyway, so I wanted to explain that's what I've done here is the vinyl. But paper would work just as well using like a rapid resizer to blow it up to how big it needs to be. All right, here we go. For real this time. Alright guys, I think you can see what's going on here. So I am going to go ahead and finish up these letters off camera. Then we'll come back and we'll do these bigger ones. One thing I did want to show you though. Look underneath here. I don't know if you can see that. The reason that chipped out is, oh by the way, this is definitely cedar. I can smell it. Can you smell it, babe? It's definitely cedar. See the way that chipped out? Had that been a letter, I would have been in trouble. This board, I'm going to carve everything counterclockwise. That chipped out because that would have been, when I came down here, that would have been going clockwise if that was a letter, and I would have lost all of that right there because it was chippy. I could tell with this tight grain that it was going to be chippy. So all of my outset letters, I'm going to go counterclockwise on all these. That's just kind of an example. As soon as that chipped out underneath there, I wanted to stop and show you guys. So anyway, I'm just going to trim that off. Hopefully that won't get caught on my router base too much. All right, so I'm going to carve these and we'll be right back. All right, guys, I've got all of these. I got the top letters done. Now I'm going to work on these bigger ones. Okay, there's a start. I'm going to go ahead and carve much offline, and then we'll be back, and then we'll get into the background. All right, folks. So next step, I'm going to go ahead and carve the outline of the background, and then I'm going to start on here, and then we'll come back and we'll take the next step after that's all done. folks, I'm going to just go ahead and finish this up off camera, and then we'll come back and go to the next step. Okay, so if you guys have ever seen me carve through this vinyl before, or even through paper, I do my initial carving like that, and then what I want to do now is pull off all of the vinyl, or if it's paper, pull it all off. One thing nice about the vinyl is it comes off pretty easily, probably better than the paper does. Then I want to go back and inspect all my lines and make sure all the lines look the way I want them to look. Could be that I'll need to go back and kind of touch stuff up. Make sure all my lines are straight. See, like I don't like that. The top of the eye kind of went sideways, but I couldn't see it with the paper or the vinyl on there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all this off, guys, and we'll be right back. All right, folks, so now what I want to do, now that I've got all the vinyl off, now I can really see exactly where my lines are. So I can see that some of the tops and the bottoms of these letters are not really square, not really quite like I want them. So I'm going to go back and kind of touch those up and keep them, get them straightened up. Here we go. Guys, I'm going to take that same process that I use at the top and the bottom. I'm going to do them here and then turn it around and go vertical with those letters. Make sure all my lines are nice and straight. We'll be back. Okay, folks, I want to show you one thing that I just did. I just straightened up this line here. Had some little bobbles and waves and stuff in it, and I straightened it up, and I'm about to do that here. So what I did was I took my straight edge and just put it on there and then drew a pencil line. So now I really know where I want my straight edge, and then I'll just go and just barely trim that down and try and get that line as straight as I can. A little better. So, and if you couldn't tell, I was going a little bit deeper as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go a little bit deeper yet, and I'm going to go around all my letters. In fact, I'll do it a little bit on camera here so you can see what I'm talking about. And by deeper, that means I'm cutting a wider cut, since all of my, or almost all of my bits are V-groove. So it's going to be a wider cut so that when I go back to do my background, I don't have to get near as close to those letters. Here we go. Okay, so you guys get the idea. So I'm going to do that same thing all the way around the inside and then around all the letters, and then I'm going to open up the lines here as well. Then when we come back, we'll get the background done. All right, guys, I got all this stuff done. I don't know why I just moved that. You were on it. And I'm going to use the 90 degree to take out my background. I'm going to do the dimple background, so I'm just going to do a little bit of it, show you how I do the dimple background, then we'll do the rest of it off camera. So here we go. I think it's set at about 1/4 of an inch. Now normally this 90 degree, I normally use the bigger router, but I'm not doing all that much. There's not that much here. I don't think it'll overwork this little DeWalt. So let's get this done. So you get an idea how I do that. Now I'm going to just go ahead and finish all this up. Then we'll come back and we'll get this thing sprayed and sanded off. All right, boys and girls, we are all done with the carving. And I've brushed this thing really well and taken out pretty much all of the loose stuff. Brush it with my stiff bristle brush, and then any high spots I've taken out. You know, the normal process, taken out with my little hand tool. But it looks like everything is down below the surface pretty well. It's brushed out really well. And we are just going to spray it. Now, I'm not doing anything on the edges as of yet. That's going to come later on when I do the rest of the sign. I'm going to do something a little bit special for Izzy that I've never done before. So I'm excited about moving on to the next steps. You guys will see it when it's all done. So again, I don't have any sanding sealer on this because I really don't need it with this cedar. Cedar normally don't have any issues with bleeding unless you really, really heavily overspray. And I'm always trying to be careful not to do that. So we'll just give it a nice even spray. Short spurts. That is all we need to do. That's it. So we'll let that dry. We'll come back and we'll sand it off. Hey guys, all right, you know what? This video is going really long, so I'm going to extend this out. We're going to sand that off on the next video, and then we'll get it all wrapped up on one more video, I promise. I just don't want this thing to go out too long. So I hope you enjoyed that, and join us on the next video, and we'll get that thing all sanded off. So thanks again, guys. We appreciate it, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.